Welcome. It's great to have you join us on the maiden edition of Nigeria Governors Live here in our studio in Abuja. Thank you so much. The Nigeria Governors Forum, or Nigeria Governors Live rather, is a one-stop shop for everything governors, the news, the debates, the personalities. And with me on the program this lovely evening is my colleague, Kenda Amudu.
You're welcome to the program. On the program today we have news bits. We have the first in our special discussions to set the stage for the program in the months ahead. Gina?
And we will also be talking on the powers of governors, the perceptions, the realities. That is the topic that we'll be discussing today with our guests. But before that, we will have the news bits come up in the next few minutes, and then we'll have the interview. It's Nigeria Governors Live.
Nigerian governors.
Hello and welcome to News Bits on Nigeria Governors Live. The Nigeria Governors Forum has condemned Saturday's fire that gutted the house of the Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma. The NGF Chairman and Governor of Ekiti State, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, in a statement issued in Abuja on Sunday, described it as a criminality taking too far. According to reports, Uzodinma's country home in Omoma, Oru East local government area of Imo State was on Saturday destroyed by fire. Fayemi sympathized with Uzodinma and commiserated with all those who were injured, maimed or killed as a result of the incident. He called on all good citizens to cooperate with security forces and the government in effort to build a civil, safe and secure environment for all citizens. Governor Bello Mohammed has revealed fresh ways of tackling banditry rampant in Zamfara State. The governor revealed that he has had an extensive discussion with President Muhammadu Buhari and the country's service chiefs on the new approach, which is most likely going to deal seriously with deceptive and unrepentant bandits. He warned armed bandits in the state to repent or change their lifestyle for the better or face the dire consequences. He cites his recent suspension of a district head in Shinkafi Emirate for conniving with bandits as a tip of the iceberg, adding that in the next 4 days he will overwhelm all those making lives unbearable to innocent citizens in the state. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has concluded plans to unveil iconic new projects which his administration will build to make life more comfortable. This was contained in the release on Sunday by the State Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Benga Omotosho, while giving the highlights on the series of activities outlined to showcase the administration's performance and impact on residents since assumption of office and commemoration of a second-year anniversary. In the meantime, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu will on Wednesday host this year's World Day for Safety and Health at Work. The Director General, Lagos State Safety Commission, Mr. Larry Mojola, who disclosed this at a pre-event program, said the theme for this year's World Day for Safety and Health at Work is Anticipate, Prepare and Respond to Crisis. Invest now in resilient occupational safety and health systems. He said COVID-19 pandemic has led governments, employers, workers and others to face challenges in relation to the virus and the effects that's had on the workplace. This year's World Day for Safety and Health at Work will focus on strategies to strengthen national occupational safety and health systems to build resilience in order to face crises now and in the future, drawing on lessons learned and experiences from the world of work. And that's it on News Bits on Nigeria Governors Live.
You're welcome back. Today we talk about the powers of governors and the perception and reality. Many people believe that governors have unfettered powers, but what is it? What is the truth behind this? Do they have unfettered powers over the state houses of assembly, the judiciary, and all other bodies in the state, the local governments? In reality, what are their powers?
Well, in the studio with us, we have someone who is well equipped to tackle these subjects, both from the standpoint of the Constitution and practically. This stems from the fact that he was a former member of the House of Representatives. We have in the studio today with us Honorable Geoff Ojinika. You're welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you, and good evening, Nigeria.
I think a great place to start is the recent controversy between the state houses of assembly, autonomy, financial autonomy for state houses of assembly and judiciary. What has stalled financial autonomy for state houses of assembly and the judiciary?
Well, that was one of the issues that people did raise, because it was constitutionally provided that funds meant to them for those arms of government should be credited directly to their accounts, and they should be self-accounting. But over the years, that has not been the norm. And the spirit of that is for those arms of government to be independent on their own, to be able to, checkmate each other. Because in the state, we'll expect the legislative arm, that's the state assembly, to be independent so that they can do the oversight function on the executive. You can't go, they say that he who is the piper dictates the tone. You can't go cap in hand to the governor to ask for money, and then the next day you come back to ask questions about how one or two things are not going on well. So it is in the balance of power that those things should be that way. And especially funding, the law of economic determinism. The who controls the purse controls virtually everything. And the independence of the judiciary cannot also be overemphasized, because every law, both executive powers and the legislative powers, also undergo judicial review. If laws made by a state assembly is not in line with the spirit and letters of the Constitution, you go to the courts. The courts will, if the law is not, they will set it aside. So for you to be in position to perform all those functions, for those each and every one of arms of the government to control themselves as envisaged by the Nigerian Constitution, then they have to be independent. But they will also still work together, but it shouldn't be a type that one will be parasitic on the other. You have to go to beg for funds from the other arm of the government. So that's basically, the spirit and the letters and what has been provided in the Constitution. But over the years, it has not been, that same way. In fact, the most embarrassing one was during the last constitutional review, when even some state assemblies rejected autonomy for themselves. So, and as one of my friends used to say the political hallelujah boys, I wouldn't, imagine why somebody would reject being independent and would prefer to go to beg. The essence of it is for you to discharge your duties to the best of your ability and to the best of your conscience, so that you don't have anything to mortgage. And it also makes our institutions to grow, because we are looking for strong institutions, not strong men. And that is what makes a system stable. Like during the last election in the US, if they didn't have a strong system, the kind of uproar that the former president of America wanted to raise, the system would have crumbled. But because the system was very stable, and the legislature could stand up and rise up against him, and you could see. And then relatively, you can also see that with the kind of financial autonomy we have at the national level, the debate and issues at the national level is slightly better than what it is in the state assemblies. In fact, it's almost like the state assemblies have, the state assemblies as we have it today is not what it used to be. I was in the Imo House of Assembly in 1999. I could say that by the time the then governor had to, even buy some vehicles, the Jeep, he had to send a letter of approval to the state assembly. But those things don't happen now. Okay, that is even the other way around.
Okay, let me ask. Usually the governors are responsible for, we could say to put it that they're responsible for the non-implementation of this particular bill. Why did he have to take the Executive Order 10 for us to bring this bill to the front burner again?
Well, the tendency for one to want to have all the powers, not sharing powers is there. And definitely, if you are the governors, nobody likes being checked. Every governor would like the legislature to be weak and the judiciary to be weak. Nobody wants to be checkmated. So that's just the truth.
But the governors will say that while everybody says they have unfettered powers, they don't have those kind of unfettered powers. They will refer you to security in the states, in the fact that they are called chief security officers, and yet the power to determine security still lies at the center at the federal level.
Oh, I quite agree with the governors. The kind of federation we are running, federalism, is a very confused one. In fact, we are running a dual federalism in the sense that there is excessive, instead of the states and the center sharing powers, equally, there's a lot of lopsidedness in the powers that the center is usurping, and it has made the issue of federalism very confused. Like in the United States, every state, you see, during the last election, every state have their own electoral law. The electoral law in this state may not be the same with the electoral law in the other state. You also see that they also have their state laws. They have their state high courts, they have their state appeal courts, and their state supreme courts. Quite unlike in Nigeria here today, where a customary law in Imo State, tried in the customary court of, you go on appeal, and then the case comes up to Supreme Court, and you'll be wondering why such cases should come up to the Supreme Court. But that's the system we run. I have never seen a confused federation, a confused like the way we have it in our constitution. In fact, the constitution, ordinarily they say it's Federal Republic of Nigeria, but in essence it's a unitary system that is in the real spirit of the constitution, where power is concentrated at the center. So the governors, you tell the governor that the governor have to, like appointment of judicial officers in the state. Even after following through the Judicial Service Commission in the state, it still has to come to the National Judicial Service Commission for approval. And who is in control of the National Judicial Service Commission? It is the federal government. It's the center. They also, both their promotion, their discipline, everything is also invested in the National Judicial Council, which is also in the center. So you see that even the judicial officers in the state, their allegiance is more even to the national, because that's where they can be disciplined. So I have never seen a confused constitution as the one we have. We say it's federalism, but it is not federalism. In fact, it's a unitary system of government. So the governors, all the things that has to do with security, none of them is under the control of the government. The police, the army, in fact, the state assemblies don't have power to legislate on them. And these are the people that are in charge of the security at the state level. So the governor is merely answering chief security officer in court. The allegiance of the commissioner of police the brigade commander or the GOC does not lie in the governor.
Little wonder the governors are advocating for state police, and in fact we are beginning to see regional security outfits crop up. We have the Amotekun and we have Ebubagu, most recently established by the Southeast governors. Now, will this actually solve the problem of insecurity in Nigeria?
The major thing is that the constitution that we have, the system we have, is defective. There is no way you can, the merits of federalism, why we call, in fact, if you go to the section 1 of the constitution, the name of the country is Federal Republic of Nigeria, not even Nigeria, Federal Republic, and the emphasis on that federal, and is because we have different component parts. There are more than 388 ethnic groups, ethnic nationalities in Nigeria. In fact, one of the greatest in there. We have more than, so you have people of different component parts coming together. And for you to, it has to be a federal structure to make sure that you accommodate all these component parts. And that is the merit of federalism. Federalism, if you go to states where, or in countries where everybody is the same, you speak the same language, in such a case, you may not need to have a federalism. But in our own circumstance, it is imperative.
Let's keep that thought, and let's go for a break. Well, Nigeria Governors Live. We're going for a break now. When we come back, we talk about local governments and in the mix are the states and what state governors are doing to local governments. Right after this.
Nigerian governors.
Okay, well, you're welcome back. Before we went on the break, I talked about the elephant in the room, the local governments. If we are complaining about the autonomy, financial autonomy for state houses of assembly and judiciary, I think the local governments have it even worse. Why do we have such a situation in the states?
My brother, it is very unfortunate. I was a deputy chairman of a local government in 1994. That's about 27 years ago. I was also the acting chairman of my local government also in 1996, and eventually I ran election and became the executive chairman in 97. Until in those days, our allocation comes straight from after the federation account. Every council is credited with their money. In those days, the allocations of local government used to be in neighborhoods. In those days, it used to be about 2.1, 2.2 million, and all the rest of them. You have your wage bill, about 1 point something. And at the end of time, I could still tell you that local governments were achieving a lot. The local governments were doing some major projects, road projects, culverts, and all whole not. But in the recent time, as we have it today, my local government also, you go to the website of the Federal Ministry of Finance, you see the local government getting up to 200 and something million. At the end of it, you will even see some staff complaining that they have not been paid salaries. And you begin to imagine, how on earth can a local government that gets up to 200 million and with a staff strength that may not be up to 30, 40 million is still owing staff salaries? And you go there, the local governments have been turned into ghost towns. The workers are, the morale of the workers are the lowest ebb. In fact, there is no prospect in anybody working in the local government system in terms of progression, in terms of progress, in terms of doing anything. And you start to imagine what must have been wrong. And the only thing that you can attest that may rightly be wrong is that the the level of pressure that has gotten to bear on the local government councils. And more or less, in the recent time, it's been a thing in vogue now to have caretakers, interim management committees, and all whatnot. That's democratically elected. Yeah. Only very few councils are democratically elected in the country, and even the ones that are democratically elected with mockery of democracy. Mockery. What I mean by mockery is a mockery of what a typical election can be, because if you watch a situation where you go, any party in the state will win 305 council seats, 27 local government. That's a mockery of democracy.
Well, we still have